Welcome to Intel on AI, the podcast that connects leaders with listeners. My name is Heather McGuigan, and I am your host. Today's guest is Tomi Virkki. Joining us today, he works in the technology transformation team leading the AI Factory at PMI. Tomi is one of the driving forces behind PMI's enterprise-wide GenAI strategy, helping teams move from scattered pilots to scalable, impactful solutions. He leads the execution of the AI at PMI delivery model, which governs the full lifecycle of AI use cases from ideation and experimentation to industrialization. His work has helped shape PMI's AI Factory, a modular and secure ecosystem designed to deliver business value through reusable GenAI capabilities. Today, he'll share his insights on how large enterprises can build confidence in AI, align governance with innovation, and unlock both top and bottom line impact. Tomi, welcome to Intel on AI.
Amazing. Thank you, Heather. Let me take a quick moment before we jump in just to a little bit to explain how we are delivering our vision on a smoke-free future through industry-leading AI adoption. Together, we're basically going to explore how we move from experimentation to embedding GenAI in our very DNA, the DNA of our enterprise, transforming how we think, operate, and lead. PMI actually is transitioning from a traditional tobacco company to a science and technology-powered consumer business with a goal of delivering a smoke-free future.
So how would you define AI industrialization in the context of large enterprises like PMI?
It's a really good question. Let me first say, look, it's an ongoing journey. We've developed so far what we call a three-pronged direction to drive enterprise adoption, build confidence, and scale impact. The first of these we started back in 2023, moving on to early 2024, which was all about creating readiness and building trust. To ensure a safe and confident use of AI across PMI, we provided access to generative AI tools like Copilot for all of our approximately 35,000 office-based employees. We accomplished this already by the beginning, actually Q1 of 2024. This rollout was supported by clear communication, company-wide training initiatives, including weekly live sessions, self-paced learning, AI literacy campaigns, and active engagements with senior leaders, as you can imagine. The second part of this we did was basically from Q2 to Q3 of 2024. We called this structuring demand and introducing the AI Factory. So in the third quarter of 2024, we had around 300 use cases. And as you can imagine, this is a massive amount of use cases that have been raised across the company. So it became clear to us that we needed to have a more scalable way to manage the growing interest while prioritizing what we can deliver and what would deliver the greatest value. At this point, we put in place what we call the AI Factory, which is made all our investment to get ready to scale AI at PMI. The AI Factory is now a new operating model where AI development shifts from siloed efforts to a platform with reusable capabilities supported by a key core team. We assessed all of these use cases basically by theme and complexity and began grouping them into repeatable enterprise-grade capabilities. To expand the ability to support business teams more effectively, we wanted to connect similar efforts across functions and accelerate progress by building solutions that could scale. So taking that, basically, then we moved to our third step, which is something that we started at the beginning of this year, really, which is about driving strategic integration and enterprise value. So that's really starting to answer that question of yours. So our early success with AI basically inspired our CEO to set a company-wide mandate, making AI a top business priority. This marked obviously a big shift in our organization. So instead of using AI to automate tasks tactically, we adopted an AI-first blanket slate approach to process innovation. We believe that redesigning processes from ground up with AI in mind is the key to unlocking AI's greatest potential. So today, AI industrialization at PMI is about shifting from scattered pilots to scalable, secure, and value-driven ecosystems. Think of this like building a new factory, just one for AI. Just like a physical production line, our factory is designed to deliver reusable, modular, and compliant AI capabilities at scale. The program today has been built around key strategic pillars, which are governance, reusability, and business co-ownership. It's not just about deploying LLMs, it's about transforming business models and reimagining the process with AI at the core.
Could you share a practical example of how PMI takes a GenAI use case from idea to real business impact?
I think a good example is how we reimagined our content review process. We started by identifying the most time-consuming steps in our current workflow. Then we asked, what's the actual output we need, and how can GenAI help us get there faster and more accurately? By linking into cross-functional processes and applying our AI Factory's reusable components, we built a use case that can significantly speed up the time it takes to conduct internal reviews of certain content and deliver guidance directly to employees' fingertips, saving significant time in the process. In this journey, our AI PMI team has grown from 2 people in 2023 to a fully fledged cross-functional team, saving thousands of work hours and unlocking tens of millions of dollars in potential revenue. Tools like the previously mentioned content review process or an innovation project, an AI-powered commercial planner, have been instrumental in achieving these kind of results. And we know we've only started scraping the surface. We've seen many examples of AI applications providing real business impact, including smarter forecasting, faster science, and better consumer engagement.
So, what are some of the biggest blockers you see when scaling AI from pilot to enterprise wide adoption?
Again, a really, really good question. Of course, there's a myriad of different obstacles that you have, but I guess the biggest blockers in my mind remain fragmentation and friction, different tech stacks, inconsistent governance, and siloed efforts. So, before we created the AI factory, you could see teams often building similar solutions in isolation, each with its own risks and learning curve. I mean, you can imagine as you're building these kind of different solutions siloed, they're not really talking to each other and you can't really reuse those capabilities. Now, with the reusable microservices that we have as a part of the factory and a unified governance model, we've cut time to market by about 40% and improved reusability up to 80%. But the real unlock is a cultural shift, moving from a project first to a platform first type of thinking.
How do you approach measuring value from AI initiatives?
We embed value thinking from day one. Every use case must articulate its business impact, cost savings, time reduction, or revenue uplift. In fact, we're not really counting efficiency as a ROI unless it can be quantified and results in a measurable impact in our P&L. We work closely with finance to validate assumptions and track realized value post-deployment. For example, we quantified how GenAI can automate summaries of recorded customer care calls with consumers, improve audit accuracy, and enhance customer care agent training. It also identifies emerging challenges and needs, enabling us to respond faster. This agility typically results in both top and bottom line impact.
How do you ensure cross functional teams are aligned when taking an AI use case from concept to deployment?
Well, this is very much at my heart as well, because governance is very close to me as a PMO and running the factory. But basically, we institutionalized a 7-stage governance process, which includes steps from staging and ideation to proof of concept, pilot, and beyond. Each step and each stage has a legal, infosec, business, people, and culture review, making sure that each use case and has a specific tech stakeholder and a specific function, making sure that it's completely compliant in terms of what we're doing. And this, in turn, it ensures transparency, reduces work, and builds trust. For SaaS-based solutions, for example, early alignment with legal and infosec has helped us to accelerate a lot of the validation and deployment process that we have. So we ensure that we don't just scale AI, we do it the right way and make sure that it's aligned with our people first strategy.
And what role does change management play in an AI industrialization within a global organization?
In short, it's absolutely critical.
Mm.
AI isn't just a tech shift, it's basically a shift in mindset. So we embed change management through training like our internal AI Ready program, internal communication, and stakeholder onboarding. AI has become a top business priority for us. So with every business function developing AI strategy and setting targets to measure impact. So the AI factory model as such has now become something fully functional, supporting the strategic integration of AI across our organization. And this is an ongoing process. And it's constantly, as you can imagine, the technology evolving. So it's a constantly evolving playing field. I can recall actually a recent example where we had to clarify that a use case wasn't just a proof of concept, because it was in fact the first step in reimagining a global process. Again, it's a mindset shift that requires aligning expectations across markets, vendors, and internal teams.
I asked a little bit earlier about obstacles. Now I want to ask about opportunity. So, where do you see the biggest opportunities for Gen AI within enterprise operations today?
Wow, the biggest opportunity. Look, I won't give you one, I'll give you two. Okay,
Great.
so I'd say the two biggest opportunities lie first in the empathy and care derived by the people first AI strategy that we employ, which is we've introduced AI. And when you introduce AI, I mean, you can introduce a lot of uncertainty to the organization. Our people first approach builds confidence and competence, which is through thoughtful design, training, and communication. So if I look at confidence, this means about human-centric design, ensuring meaningful user experiences. It's the people and culture team proactively assessing and mitigating workforce impacts. Transparency is maintained through regular updates and global AI content posted on our intranet hub. In terms of competence, it's about employees experimenting with tools like Copilot, Adobe Firefly, or other approved AI solutions. Our employees are engaged with our AI ready learning path. And of course, we have a grassroots network of AI champions that support the adoption through peer coaching and feedback. And I guess the second part is understanding the red thread that connects all the use cases that you have. In our case, as I mentioned, we've identified core AI capabilities, which are ranging from the likes of narrative generation and rules and policy adherence to agentic orchestration platforms. These are these are basically capabilities that are being leveraged across our use case portfolio today, which numbers in the multi hundreds. So naturally, we'll look at data as well. I mean, the real value obviously comes when you gain insights from both structured and unstructured data. And this is the direction many of our use cases are taking today. So we start having hybrids. What kind of hybrids? Hybrids where you have RPA, you have machine learning, and you have Gen AI combined in a single use case. And thanks to our people, those red threads, and that insight, our AI factory can actually enable us to rapidly scale these capabilities across the regions and functions to make sure that we're actually driving that value at scale.
So, how does governance and risk management fit into the AI industrialization journey?
Look, when generative AI first became widely accessible, many organizations responded with caution. At PMI, we took a more purposeful approach. Rather than delay, PMI's IT leaders quickly built a trusted foundational environment by working with InfoSec, law, and strategy to develop this governance framework that I was talking about earlier for our AI initiatives. This governance is basically the backbone of everything that we do. Every single GenAI use case has to pass through this governance process, including risk assessments, info security reviews, and legal checkpoints. We've adopted a zero trust principle and embedded governance into every single stage of the AI lifecycle. By doing this, we allow for safe exploration, so enabling teams to experiment confidently and responsibly in a fast adapting environment from the start, which in turn opens the path towards enterprise scale solutions. Every now and then we do see vendors proposing solutions that don't meet our standards, which is okay because we have this robust governance process enabled, which helps us flag these kind of use cases early before they become a problem. And this saves time and ensures compliance for all of our activities.
How do you see the role of employee enablement and training evolving as AI industrialization progresses?
It's basically we have more than 450 use cases from all across our businesses. We've seen both our technical and non-technical teams embrace AI and build impactful prototypes that provide real value to our company by improving our business processes. Well, of course, this is a journey. It's about shifting the narrative from AI is for data scientists to understanding that AI really is for everyone. The whole AI at PMI program actually started by listening to teams across PMI to identify where I could make the biggest difference. This grassroots approach grew into a fast-moving, use case-driven movement rooted in real needs and business impact.
What are some misconceptions leaders often have about GenAI industrialization?
Uh, well, I guess, Gen AI being plug and play, or you can always, or you always need the latest model to perform tasks well, or that autonomous agents can be implemented on critical business processes and systems without human oversight. These are typical examples. In reality, what you really need is a robust data pipeline. You need governance, you need change management. You know, the other issue that we tend to have is an obsession with tools. Everybody wants new tools. What leaders really need are solutions to business problems. And we've learned this going through hundreds of use cases. And that's why we prioritize reusability and standardization through the factory.
What's one emerging AI capability that excites you the most and why?
Mhm. I guess it's the same one that's on everybody's lips these days, which is agentic orchestration. I mean, this basically allows us to change GenAI agents into workflows that reason, act, and adapt. Imagine a digital assistant that drafts a report, pulls data, checks compliance, or schedules reviews. In fact, you know what? Let me create a hypothetical scenario. We'll call this the car wash example. Um, Imagine you're going to the office, you get out of your car, and as you're walking to your office or to your desk, you're like, my car's really dirty. You mentioned that in passing. And then when you come back from the office, you get into the car, you're like, oh my gosh, my car is clean. There's a number of things that happen or can happen for that to take place, right? You have an orchestrator that uses scheduling agent that checks your calendars, check the calendars of the car wash. You have somebody coming to pick up your car to have it washed, and somebody that takes payment from your credit card, and then obviously delivers this to the parking. Now, that's all well and good. But let's say that throughout the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I think I need to leave a couple of hours earlier. How does that change the scenario? How does that shift the paradigm? So then all of a sudden, everything needs to be rechecked again. And maybe it's not possible. So then maybe the second that you've said that, you'll receive an email into your phone saying, there's a car wash booked for you tomorrow. So when you come to the office tomorrow, your car will be washed. So basically, you will have a model that is reasoning and thinking on the fly all the time. Now, obviously, this is an amazing thing, and agentic holds amazing prospect, but we're not really there yet. I mean, I probably wouldn't trust an AI agent with my personal credit card just yet. But exactly, well, my car maybe, but we're getting there slowly but surely. I mean, actually, to throw in a fun fact about PMI in this arena, we actually launched our first internal proof of concept for agentic even before OpenAI released its first agentic guidelines and software development kit, which was back in March of this year. You have to remember, this is a technology that more or less started around February, March of this year. Now everybody's talking about how that's going to start bringing value to the businesses. So we're very well positioned, again, to take the potential from this massive chance to automate and even create agentic workflows. But we have to be really careful with how we do that, because there's a lot of responsible AI that needs to be put in place to make sure that we don't have any issues on that side. I mean, basically concluding from my side, scaling AI isn't just about scaling use cases. It's about changing how we think, how we operate, and how we lead. At PMI, we're not just adopting, we're embedding AI into our very enterprise DNA to deliver that smoke-free future.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. You are such a great speaker. Your passion, your values, your goals, they seem so aligned and so clear. So thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thank you, Heather. It's been a real pleasure from my side. Thank you very much.
For everybody watching, this was Tomi Virkki. My name is Heather McGuigan for Intel on AI. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Visit intel.com/AI to learn more.